Welcome to Rant on Reels. I'm Michael Fooch.
And I'm Xavier Barnett.
Today on the podcast, we do a nice deep dive into Dumbo and give our bottom 10 superhero movies.
Are you excited? Because I'm excited.
I'm stoked.
Oh, really? Okay, well, let's do it. Let's get the party started. How's your day going, Mike?
It's good. How's your week been?
It's been terrible. I'm going through some hardships. Please donate lots of money to me. I'm going through a hard time, suffering through depression.
Am I getting
April Fools, y'all!
Well,
We're doing this on April 1st. You know what that means? That means some of the news we might have might be, an April Fool's joke, but we'll try to sift through the actual factual news.
sounds good. Before we get started, be sure to like us on Instagram, on Snapchat, on iTunes.
Snapchat. When do we get a Snapchat?
You weren't involved in this?
No.
No, it's a shame for
Oh,
you.
wow. Okay, so I don't know anything about the company anymore.
Nope.
But yeah, like us on Instagram. We're on
iTunes,
Spotify, YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe,
Follow.
do everything. Follow. Everything we say is important, and you don't want to miss out on anything we have to say. Especially Fooch. I think he has one post, but it's the most important post in the world.
I'm working on it. I say that every week. I'm still working on it.
No, you're not.
Yeah. All right. I want to start with a story. So, Chris Evans, who you all know is one of my favorite actors, he plays Captain America.
That's like the worst superhero.
He recently came up with told us what his favorite scene was in the Captain America universe. It was him on the elevator in Winter Soldier. Now, going back to last week when you don't even remember, you say you don't remember Winter Soldier. Do you remember the scene we're talking about?
Yeah, he beats up Crossbones and some other guys in the elevator.
Isn't that a great scene?
Yeah, it's a cool scene, but it's not my favorite.
What's your favorite Captain America scene?
My favorite Captain America scene is when Iron Man beats the crap out of him in Civil War.
I think you're watching the wrong movie. Captain America wins that fight.
Barely. It was a 2v1 fight.
It doesn't
Not fair at all.
Cap won the fight. You're
Cap, he's a superhero and he fights 2v1 versus some guy. He would never do that.
Anyway, that's not my favorite. My favorite Captain America scene is probably not even an action scene.
Which scene is it? It's
probably the scene in Winter Soldier where he gives the speech on, I think there's more heroes here than just me. It's tough to be a hero. The quote I gave you last week in trivia.
Oh.
That's probably my favorite Captain America scene.
Oh, okay. We all have good scenes.
He's such a great character. I like so much of it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him in Endgame.
I know.
And see how his story unfolds.
Tickets go on sale April 2nd. So
at 9 a.m. So that means right when I'm on the bus, the GO bus, I have to order it literally right at the GO station. It'll go online when I'm at the GO station.
Any other stories coming out?
Yeah, a new character has joined the MCU.
Who?
A major character, major actor. It's a female. She's starred in many roles. She's not unfamiliar with Disney. She has a Disney movie coming out this year. Have you guessed who it is yet?
Yes.
Who is it?
Angelina Jolie.
Yes, the Angelina Jolie has joined the cast of Marvel's The Eternals.
Actually, I have no idea. I'm not a big comic book guy. I like comic book movies, but I'm not a big comic book guy. I don't know who the Eternals are. Do you want to help me out on that?
Yeah, I don't know who they are either. I literally know nothing about the Eternals.
So you have no idea what her role or capacity in this movie is. She might not even be a character. She might just be like an Anthony Hopkins playing Odin to some of the younger characters in this movie.
Yeah, she could be like that. I have no idea. The thing about the Eternals, they're like Marvel Cosmic, and I don't know. A lot of the comic stories I followed were Earth-based. This is all space-based, so I don't know. That's all I know about the Eternals.
Do you think this will affect anything in the MCU, like any of the Earth kind of aspects to it? Will it be
It
like a
could.
Captain Marvel where it goes to Earth, or will this just stay in space like a
It could
Guardians?
stay in space in Guardians, or it could affect Earth. I have no idea if they've ever visited Earth or anything like that. Uh, what I would say is just, if we should probably just read up on them a little bit and get an idea. But honestly, if they made Guardians of the Galaxy work, I think they can make the Eternals work.
Okay. Any other stories for the week?
And I think that's everything.
All right. So let's get started then today. So before we get started, Xavier's gonna give you a nice little warning about our program here.
Why'd you mention my name when I decided to take a drink of water?
Just because I want to put you on the spot. I saw you get one for the drink. I'm like, I'll make Xavier do this.
You're an evil man.
I know.
Well, just want to warn you guys. There's gonna be spoilers for Donbo. I was gonna say Donbo, Dumbo. Yeah. And there's also going to be spoilers for our bottom 10 superhero movies that we'll be talking about later on in the day. So
And the original Dumbo and maybe other Disney movies as well.
Yeah, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers, turn it off now.
Until you watch the movie. And then come back and listen to us.
No, just don't listen to us ever. It's okay.
All right. So
I have
let's
an
start
annoying
with
voice.
Dumbo. Let's start with our opening. Let's begin with our opening thoughts on Dumbo. So what are your opening thoughts?
I liked it better than the original. I've watched the original probably 5 years ago, and I only remember one scene from the original.
What scene was that?
The most iconic scene.
The scene with Dumbo flying?
No, that's not the iconic scene.
Okay.
The most iconic scene is when Dumbo goes on a psychedelic LSD trip, bro. Fight the power. I don't think that was just alcohol. I think that was that alcohol and soap water that he drank?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's the most iconic scene.
Okay. So that's all you got for your opening thoughts?
Even though I liked it better than the first, it's not that much better. It's okay. The movie, I was like, is this over yet? Like, my problem with the movie is I'm not saying it's not realistic. It's just the way people react and treat other people doesn't seem right to me. Like, it doesn't seem realistic, in my honest opinion. But we'll see what you have to say.
Well, my opening thoughts are very simple. I think this movie is very mediocre, very meh. I'm not going to say I'm completely disappointed by it because, like you, I didn't really like the original Dumbo. The original Dumbo is probably one of my least favorite of the animated Disney movies, which is kind of ironic because I don't know if you know this, but the original Dumbo kind of saved Disney. Like to the point where like Disney had released in the early 40s like Pinocchio and Fantasia, and they were bombs. And which is hilarious because Pinocchio is fantastic as a movie.
Yeah.
And like the When You Wish Upon a Star is always like their
Yeah,
trademark.
that's their trademark. That's weird that
But
it's Pinocchio bombs.
this movie doubled its production value. It made way more than those other two movies combined, to the point where Dumbo was almost named by Time magazine as the mammal of the year.
What the Dumbo? That's hilarious.
There was this ideology that they might make a sequel to it, so it's kind of funny. But they shortened this movie. It's only like a 66-minute runtime, which is one of the shortest on the animated Disney movie. So like, I don't really like it. It is iconic in a lot of ways because of the money it made, but it's still, this movie is disappointing. It's got entertainment value, but it makes fatal flaws. And that fatal flaw of forcing plot. You change characters just to get the plot you want. And, I feel like that's one of the biggest mistakes movies make is when they change a character midway through the movie. I feel like this movie could have done anything with the storyline because the original was only 66 minutes. They could have done anything. And I feel they chose a very, I don't want to say a safe plot, but they chose a very
predictable,
boring,
basic
plot. They could have done so much more, like developed the characters so much better, gone a different direction from the original. you couldn't make the original, right? There's borderline racial undertones in the original movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably been called one of the most racist Disney movies. You can't remake that in it.
Yeah.
So you have free range to do your own thing with it. I don't think it did a good job. Anyway, those are my opening thoughts.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say I agree with them, but I agree with them.
All right, let's deep dive into this movie. There's a lot to unpack here, I think. So let's go through this. So the movie begins in 1919, and we see this circus going from Florida all the way to Joplin, Missouri. And the movie kind of begins with them unpacking this tent, and the new season is starting in 1919.
New circus season, baby.
And we have Holt, our main character, played by Colin Farrell. He returns home from World War I. He's lost his left arm. And his two children, a young son and a young daughter, run to see him. And we find out that his mother has died of Spanish influenza, which killed just as many people as the entire First World War put together.
The Black Plague?
No, the Spanish flu.
Tuberculosis?
No, the Spanish flu.
Okay. That was in the 1900s?
No, the Black Death is from like the 1200s.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, the Black Death.
Tuberculosis has been around for a long
18
time.
or 17.
And tuberculosis isn't as deadly as
it used to
the
be.
influenza was.
Oh, okay.
We're talking like 20 million people died of the Spanish flu.
Jeez.
In like the Western world. We're not even talking about like in other countries. So the soldiers of World War I brought it back.
Oh.
It was horrible. It's interesting. Anyways, we're off topic a little bit. So, these kids, one of their parents died. The other parents returning back from the war, and we get this idea right away that Holt does not know how to talk to his children.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, watching this movie, I'm actually intrigued by this. As a history background, World War I, great. 1919 Spanish flu. It's a little bit of a recession, so it makes sense that this circus is going to go through some financial difficulties. I thought the theme, the moral of this story was going to be how to deal with your children, to be a father dealing with this disability. And Dumbo was going to bring this family together. But do we actually see this occur? Did this story arc really develop in this movie?
I'm going to say not really.
No, right? It's like they have this really interesting thing that they can deal with. This message that adults and children can both take out of this movie, and they're like, "Oh, it's right here." But haha, April Fools, we're not going to go with it.
Yeah. Well, I find this movie, a lot of people don't listen to the kids because they're kids. Even though what the kids say kind of makes sense, but no one listens to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, we find out this circus is in trouble. But even with this one arm, Holt is excited to rejoin the circus, right? He was the star performer before he left for the war, him and his wife. They were like cowboys. They did tricks on horses. The only problem is, Max, the ringleader, Danny DeVito's character, he sells the horses because of the circus being in trouble. Holt gets put in charge of the elephants. And Max buys this pregnant elephant, Jumbo, who is going to save the circus. Because everyone wants to see a baby elephant. Which in 1919 makes sense. Like, there's not traveling like there is today. This would have been a big thing. No one would have seen elephants other than in either a zoo, which wouldn't be even as common at this time, or a circus. So the new baby elephant is going to bring in all of these new viewers who are going to pay all this money to see Dumbo. Interesting, right?
Yeah. Sounds like the plot of the first one. So far.
In a lot of... Well, no, the first one, the storks bring Dumbo.
Oh, yeah.
She's not pregnant.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Dumbo is born. And, it happens over one night. And when they see this new baby, the baby has giant ears. And Max feels cheated, and he orders Holt to hide the ears so no one can see them. Now, my question with this sequence is, I don't think it works. Because the elephant, Dumbo, is adorable.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
Way cuter than any other elephant or animal that's in this movie.
That's 100% true. I always thought, I'm like, why are they mean to, like, this is actually really cute. Like, I don't know. Maybe it was back in the 1900s and they didn't really like animal. Like, I don't know. It's not.
How
You can't
though?
really
It's
explain it.
adorable. Just look at it. It's so cute. And the problem is they made the elephant too cute to make this story work. I'm like, why are they treating this elephant so horribly?
Yeah.
And it's everyone. It's not just other than the two children. It's really everyone is like, nah, this elephant's gross.
Yeah, this elephant's disgusting. Its ears are big. It's gross. It's
Like a movie. A lot of movies. Like the point is like a theme, right? A purpose that they're trying to teach you something. What is this trying to teach us?
suppose I'll take a stab at this. Don't judge a book by its cover. Blah blah blah. Be nice to others no matter what. That kind of.
But they only become nice to it because the elephant can fly. If the
And he
elephant
can
can't
make
fly,
money.
they
It makes
can
the
make
money.
it money, right?
Well, that's the original Dumbo, right? Like in the original one, he's not really nothing really resolves. Everyone's like, "We hate you, Dumbo," and then they find out he flies, and like, "Yeah, Dumbo, you're the best." They even get to a
Same in
point
this
where
movie.
they vote him and say he's not an elephant anymore. Right?
I just don't. If they're gonna make this movie, don't make him cute.
Yeah.
Like I even seen some of the pictures with him beside Eva Green, right, when they're in the net and they're
Yeah.
sitting beside. It's so adorable.
Yeah, or even the part when, like, remember when they gave him the little baby?
Oh my
I was
god!
like,
Yes,
wow.
that's where we're about to go, right? So,
Yeah.
so they hide. They go on the first night of the circus in town. They hide Dumbo in some kind of baby carriage. They dress Dumbo up in like
The 1920s, like, baby fap thing.
yeah, and
Baby
they put
head
like
cap.
a little lollipop in the carriage. It's
Yeah.
so cute. And
And the way he just have him, the way his mannerisms too, the way he just looks around, he's just like,
like a little baby, like a
I'm
cute,
like, oh,
adorable
so
baby.
cute,
It's
right? It's
adorable. And the kids, they bond with Dumbo immediately. They trade him to play this game with a feather. And as they're playing this game, Dumbo like breathes in the feather, and it causes him to sneeze. And when he sneezes, he kind of floats in the air.
yeah,
So the kids immediately go run and tell the adults, and the adults are like, "You're stupid. Like, what do you know?" This goes to your point.
yeah. Like no one listens to the kid. Like no one thought to. I mean, like if my kid's running, I mean, unless I'm like super busy with like or swamped, I'm like, okay, let's see what this is about, or like, wait, I'll come look after, or something like that. Not just, you know what? Let's just blow it off. Who cares? You're a kid.
But again, I thought this is the theme they're going for. The father doesn't know how to talk to his children. This is going to be what the movie will be about. This is the message that people can take from this movie. How to be respectful to your children, to listen to everyone, not just adults, right?
Mhm.
That's what I'm thinking this movie's about. But you know what never happens? It kind of just falls to the wayside when everyone sees Dumbo can fly.
Yeah,
Anyway, so the first show, Dumbo's dressed up as a baby, and as he's being kind of trolled or strolled around the circus, he sees a lady with a feather. And remembering this game, he blows and brings his feather in, and it causes him to lose the headgear. And everyone sees these gross, apparently, ears.
yeah.
And what happens is everyone laughs at him. They start throwing things at him, which is just like, what?
Yeah,
This cute little baby elephant you're throwing things at?
yeah. The mob culture is real, I guess.
But it's like, it just shows like the horribleness of people.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
shows a real dark side of people. But Tim Burton, he's a dark guy.
I know, absolutely. But I'm just thinking like, this is not the message I think you want to send in this movie.
Yeah,
Like, this isn't a movie I would have made dark.
yeah. So, anyways, do you want to? The one thing that I thought was ridiculous was the guy that frees the elephant. So, like, I guess the jerk dude.
But it's funny that
I
you
don't
bring
get
up
his
this jerk
motives.
dude. So this jerk dude who's been apparently running the elephants before Holtz got there is
Yeah.
just a bully. He
Mhm.
like bullies all these elephants, and it doesn't even listen to Holt. So who's actually in charge? Holt,
Or the bully dude,
and his character's name is Rufus.
Rufus.
Like he has no backstory. We don't know who is he. He thinks he's in charge. He actually helps while Dumbo's getting all these things thrown to him, he basically frees the mom, who runs into the tent and breaks the entire tent down, killing Rufus.
Unless that's the funniest. I think that's the best part of the movie. Because that guy's plan, like, what do you do? Like, why did he stop and stay underneath the stands to watch? Like, he could have just freed them and then just left. But he's like, no, let me just bask in my glory. And
so he frees Jumbo in order to make fun of her.
And then
he doesn't like Holt for some reason, but we don't know why he doesn't like Holt. He doesn't like the elephants, but we don't know why he doesn't like the elephants. Again, this elephant is adorable. I'm going to say this again and again because I can't get over it.
Well, not the first one. He didn't like the elephant, even the adult elephants.
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, like, I don't get it. It's such a poorly developed character.
Holt calms down Jumbo, and then he makes her angry again for some reason, and then he just laughs it off. And if he didn't die, he probably would have. It's not really Jumbo's fault. It was more like that guy that died.
Well, it's just like in the original, right? Jumbo loses her cool and she gets put away, right?
Yeah, but technically it was more that guy's fault that died. So, I mean, he was out in the open and everyone saw that, but no one really blamed him for what happened.
Exactly. So the circus tent collapses, and Max, trying to get some good PR, sells Jumbo. So bye-bye, mommy.
Yeah,
Dumbo's depressed
for like half the amount.
And then now Dumbo's so sad, and it's so It's so like I felt like the most I felt in this movie is seeing sad Dumbo. I'm like, oh, poor Dumbo. So, as Dumbo is wailing in this kind of like self-pity because he lost his mom, as most people would, the kids are trying to cheer Dumbo up, and they find a feather. Again, they play with the feather with Dumbo. And Dumbo starts to fly.
He flies in the little cart thing.
He bangs into things, which again, adorable. And the kids decide they're not going to tell the old people this time. Which takes us to show number 2. Now Dumbo is being seen as a freak, so they dress Dumbo up as a clown. And Dumbo's going to go up something and put out fire. Something goes horribly wrong, and Dumbo gets caught up at the really, really high up. This small elephant
he's trapped. It's burning alive.
So
what do we do?
The daughter Millie climbs up and gives Dumbo the feather, and Dumbo flies all the way around. And immediately, everyone loves Dumbo now. Yeah, he's our savior.
Not really realistic, but whatever.
I just don't get it. Like,
it kind of shows how mean people really are, right? Like you're not important until you do something of value to me. I don't like you until you have something of value to me.
Yeah, which I don't really like about this movie. So after this, Dumbo becomes a star, right? Dumbo gets everything Dumbo wants, like a nice little bath all the time, taking care of Peanuts, everything like that. The circus begins selling out all of the shows.
And meanwhile,
this catches the attention of V.A. Vanderveer.
Billionaire man.
Not billionaire. V.A., he wants to buy Dumbo for his own circus, which is a stationary circus. It's like an amusement park.
Okay, we said it. Jinx. Now you can't talk for the rest of this.
All right, sounds good. It's in Coney Island, New York. It's called Dreamland. Huh. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
When Max says no, as a smart businessman would, VA says, let's go into business together. I'll make you my partner. Your whole troupe can come with me. I'll get them all jobs. It'll be all great, and you won't have to worry. You'll be a nice business partner. What are your thoughts on VA initially? When you were watching this movie for the only time, what were your thoughts on VA?
Don't trust him.
Really? I mean, I didn't think that right away.
You can't trust Rich. Dirty money.
He's not rich, though. We find this out almost like 15 minutes later. He's not rich, which, again, we'll talk about how that doesn't make any sense in a minute. But you would think he's rich, but he's not. Remember, he's looking for banking from the bank later on in the movie.
He's not.
He has no money.
He has no
money.
More liquid cash because he spent all his money on the amusement park.
Which, again, doesn't make any sense because he is a huge amusement park that everyone around the world wants to come see.
Yeah.
It's trust me, in 1919, that's ahead of anyone else anywhere in the world.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think VA is not see in the sorry, let me start this again. Initially, on the first go around, I don't think he's going to be a villain.
Oh, really?
Well, I think of like just some of the dialogue, right? He offers to make Max a partner, bring everyone in, and then on the way into Dreamland, as we see this again, ridiculously cool theme park. When Millie talks to his dad about wanting to be a scientist, VA is encouraging Millie to be a scientist. He's encouraging the kids to follow their dreams. That's not a villainous kind of thing to do, is it?
No villains tell people to follow their dreams. Their dreams are just usually bad.
But that's what I'm saying.
They're greedy.
The vibe you get from him. I mean, there is a villainous vibe.
I didn't trust him just based off how he acted, his mannerisms. I always thought it's one of those things where the guy seems like he's doing everything he can to help the community, and then you're gonna find out that really he's just an act.
I don't know.
It's all an act. You got played.
I did. I got played.
By dirty money.
I didn't. I thought it was easy for him to be the villain. I didn't think that would be what would happen. I really didn't. Anyway, they get into Dreamland, and VA wants Colette, Eva Green's character, his star flyer.
The tightrope walker.
Not tightrope walker. She does all of the
acrobats.
Thank you. She does all the flying acrobats to fly with Dumbo. She wants him to be on. She wants her on Dumbo. So they train. It's an adorable sequence, and they train all these nets, etc., etc. And this takes us to the show. And the first day of the show, we kind of begin to find out that VA isn't very rich because he's trying to get investors to invest in the park. Now, I ask you this question. Explain to me how he's not loaded.
Because his park's expensive and only the rich can go.
No, there's no way. There's a circus. The circus is filled to the brink. People are lining up at the gates.
What? I don't know. I find maybe it's weird that he doesn't have money, but I don't know. There has been. I'm trying to think of an example of a company that
like
had,
Disneyland.
Not Disneyland. I mean, like a company that had that went under. Like, didn't like SeaWorld go under because no one visited anymore?
Yeah, because people didn't want to spend much see the killer whales in captivity.
Yeah.
We're talking about the OG. This would be the OG
original
like,
theme park.
Okay, you saw the rides there, way ahead of their time.
Yeah.
New York is is still at this time one of the largest cities in the world, and people are coming from all over to see this flying elephant. You're telling me that he's low on money? It doesn't make any sense. Maybe I'm nitpicking here. Maybe this is a nitpick, but I'm having a hard time understanding this character. So he staked everything on this elephant, correct?
Yeah.
So on the very first show, as Dumbo is being lifted all the way to the 13 feet into the air, and Colette is right with him, VA orders no nets to protect them. So you've now invested your entire future on this elephant, and on the very first show, you are going to remove the nets that are designed to protect him in case something goes wrong.
Hey, man, you live on the edge. It's called gambling. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. He went all in. It's a classic poker strategy.
But it doesn't make any sense. His star, before Dumbo got there, his star asset was Colette. Now he wants Dumbo to be the future of his thing. He is clearly in financial trouble. He has everything to lose and nothing to gain. What do the Nets do?
Protect him. But if
when
they
the
follow
elephant flies, here's the thing. If the elephant flies, the nets were not needed. And if the elephant doesn't fly, you're protected so he can fly the next show.
Yeah, but if he couldn't fly, I think what he was worried, what happened is if the elephant can't fly, like if he never flew and the nets died, he wouldn't have got the investments anyway, so he might as well let both of them die. I don't know. I'm just trying to make sense of it.
But it is always another show, right? And
He
what
doesn't
happens
care.
if,
He
but
wants
what
the
happens
investments.
But what happens if Dumbo flies, but Colette falls off Dumbo?
Well, then he still has Dumbo and fucking Night Sweet Prince to Colette. Don't worry. You can still do acrobatics with broken legs.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying. Either way, of course, what happens is Dumbo hears a noise, and he gets sidetracked. So the feather falls down, and Colette falls down. Thank God that Holt somehow saves him, which is okay, whatever. It's a movie. Dumbo, in the last second, gets the feather and flies around. But as he flies around, he flies right out of the tent and goes to the noise, which we find out is his mother. His mother was bought by VA, who did not know it was his mother.
Yeah.
And he's all happy to see his mother.
Yeah, he's in the creepy monster place where they just paint them and add extra things to them.
Yeah, because the mother, the elephant was seen as someone scary because of what happened early on. So now the elephant Jumbo is going to be used as this monster. So VA enters and is like, "What are you guys doing?" The kid's like, "Oh, this is Dumbo's mom. Dumbo's going to be so good for you now. He just wanted to see his mom. Now that he's going to be great." VA decides, like a normal person, that he's going to be so happy for this family reunion, and everyone lives happily ever after. I'm just kidding.
That's the classic Disney movie.
I'm just kidding.
That sounds like Disney. He realized what he was doing was wrong.
What wrong?
And then decided
realize.
He almost murdered two people.
Hold on, I didn't even brought that up yet.
No, like Colette and Dumbo when they did.
So VA says, no, Dumbo, go back to your shelter. Everyone leave. And then he orders his people to have Jumbo, the mom, removed and killed.
Murdered. Yeah,
that's it. That makes sense. The kids who have said that this is only going to make Dumbo better, and you believe these kids are the ones you entrust. These kids have been entrusted to train Dumbo. In fact, they've trained Dumbo to fly, and he knows this. So instead of taking their advice like a sane, normal businessman would, he decides, we're just going to kill this and not listen to the kids. And again, has everything riding on Dumbo. You explain to me how this makes any sense.
Okay, let's see here. So clearly, he wants to. This is a classic Survivor play that you may know. It's when there's two people that are the heads of the alliance, and you want to wedge yourself in between that alliance. So you vote off the other person to become the second best option.
I have a question for you. You have a mother. If your mother wasn't around, if your mother was ripped away from you, would that make you feel good or happy or sad?
It'd make me feel sad.
Okay, so here's my question to you. If you were a star performer, would you be on your game if your mother was ripped away from you?
Probably not.
Okay, so again, you're a smart person, right? And VA clearly is a smart businessman. He's built this dreamland from nothing.
Yeah.
So a smart businessman, it makes sense that would...
To keep the mother. It saves the money, too. You already bought it, so you can use the mother, and then at the end of the show, you can have them sit together, and then they have, like, mother, father, daughter time, whatever.
Right?
But no, it's obviously the clear version way is to kill the elephant, so Dumbo will hate you. And not want to work for you.
And again, this is the change of a character. So the movie goes off the rails at this point. Well, sorry, VA goes off the rail. So he orders Dumbo's mom killed. And then he fires everyone in Max's troop. You know what? Max is like, why are you firing everyone? Well, I said I would bring them along. I didn't say for how long I would bring them along. So now he's completely went from good person, gonna save the day, gonna help develop the story between a father and his children, to... it's all about being a villain. Let's have this villainous character do villainous things out of nowhere that makes no sense. And not only does he fire everyone from the troop except for Holt and the kids and Max himself, he makes Max do it.
Yeah, he's like, I don't have time to do this.
This doesn't make... Does this make sense with the character they introduced? Does this make sense with the V.A. Vanderveer that they introduced to us like 30 minutes earlier in this film?
Well, to me, it makes sense because I had my suspicions that he was a little bit crazy. who knows what he did for those investments. He probably sounds like what he did is what I would think. They didn't do a backstory on this, but from what I assumed is like he would buy the best part of whatever circus he'd get, hire that one buy that best part, and then fire the rest.
So this leads the Max troop to help the elephants escape. Both of them, Jumbo and Dumbo. So the troop and Holt and Colette as well, they come up with this plan. The troop is going to free Jumbo, and Colette and Holt are going to free Dumbo.
Mm-hmm.
So they open or Holt climbs up to the top of the roof, and he cuts open an area so Dumbo can fly out. And Dumbo leaves. Jumbo is freed through
trickery
and a train. And as they open the gate, V.A. Vanderveer goes up to the electric booth and turns on all the electricity, which burns down Dreamland to the ground.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on this?
Yes. He burns his entire park to the ground for no reason.
Now he has no money. Actually, no, he's good. Technically, he wanted to do this because the insurance
You can't get insurance for burning down your own place.
Well, he didn't know that. No one knows that yet. No, he just has to lie. He just has to lie. Okay, it's insurance fraud. He's a villain. Obviously, he's gonna lie about getting insurance.
This scene is stupid. It's too actiony in a movie that's not supposed to be actiony. It's forced. Every aspect of this scene is forced. But anyway, Jumbo and Dumbo are sent on a boat and they go back to Africa, and we get a nice little happy ending.
They're Asian elephants, not African elephants.
Are they?
Yeah. Asian elephants have those super small ears.
Oh, because Dumbo has super small ears.
Yeah, Dumbo. That's the whole reason why they make fun of him. Technically, if he was an African elephant, he would probably. Maybe there's a racial undertone.
Okay. Well, the original movie there is, but that's besides the point. Anyway, in the ending, Max reopens his own little small traveling circus. It's flourishing. Holt is back to riding horses. Colette's now in this circus. The kids are in their own little acts. The Millie's doing her science thing.
Yeah, their new circus sucks. Like,
clearly, there's a love connection between Colette and Holt that isn't really developed, but it's there.
They hinted at it hard.
Oh, they hinted at it hard, but they never did anything. And then we get the end of the
kids movie. I'm sorry you want to see some nastiness.
I'm just saying they hit.
I'm just joking. But yeah, honestly, my first thought. Can I just talk about that circus? That circus sucks. It is the worst circus ever.
Compared to 1919.
Yeah, so
well, compared to Dreamland, it is. But yet Dreamland didn't make any money, so clearly it's not. You explain it to me. Again, the movie doesn't make any sense. All right. So, question.
What are your questions?
Is this movie better than the original?
Yes.
Why? What did you like about it? Because I was doing a good job criticizing, and all I kept getting from you was, you're right, you're right, you're right. So either what was worse about the original movie?
Oh, what's worse is that even the idea, the ideas that come across, that happen, right? The mouse guy who's only in it for himself and has the worst ideas. He's like, yeah, Dumbo, you can fly. He got out because they're in a tree. No one tells him or anything. He has no idea how they got there. He just thinks he can fly, and then they edge him, and then technically he can kind of fly. The fact that nobody liked Dumbo until he learned how to fly, and then everyone decided to be nice to him, but everyone was mean to him for like no reason. Plus, it was super short, and it's just boring, the whole movie.
You just said for this one was too long. You could be saying the original is too short. That's good.
I didn't say this one was too long.
You did. That was if we go back to the tape, I guarantee you said that in your opening thoughts. But I got to talk about that Timothy Mouse scene that you're talking about. You're right. Timothy Mouse starts off as a selfish, in it for himself. But the movie, he develops as a character to learn a lesson. What character in this movie learned a lesson?
Dumbo.
He learned
Dumbo learned a lesson that he could believe in himself the whole time, and he saved the kids.
I'd have to rewatch the original, but I'm going to say the original was better. I think that this movie misses the message. I think it forces villains. I think it changes characters, and the third act's a disaster. And it's too long. I'll say it. It's too long. I want it out. I couldn't wait for this movie to be over. The original was at least short.
A lot shorter. An hour.
Yeah, it's true. Was Tim Burton the right choice to direct this movie?
My opinion, no. But I wasn't surprised that he'd like Dumbo.
I think it's a horrible choice by Disney. Disney animated movies are not dark. Disney family movies in general are not supposed to be dark. There are exceptions, obviously, to all
The Nightmare
rules.
Before.
But that's not a children's movie. It's a PG-rated movie. It's not
Okay.
rated G. What you name me a G-rated movie, a good G-rated movie that's dark?
I don't know. Corpse Bride. Is that Tim Burton?
Also Tim Burton.
Frankenweenie.
I like Tim Burton. Batman is a fantastic movie. Did he do Edward Scissorhands?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Edward Scissorhands, fantastic movie. Sweeney Todd, fantastic movie. Anytime Works with Johnny Depp, fantastic movie. Dumbo isn't dark, and he went too dark with this movie. So I think it was the wrong choice altogether. All right, I'm gonna ask you one more question. Do you think there's a political message to this movie where we shouldn't be using animals for entertainment purposes?
Ooh. Maybe. It could be. Seems like it.
Yeah.
From this one.
They didn't keep Dumbo around. They sent Dumbo away to be free and
because
live
he
in
should
the
be
wild.
freeing himself. And then at the end we even see the scene with him with all the other Asian elephants in Asia.
Yes, absolutely.
Not
so
African.
I think there is a political message here. Do you think it's a good political message? Do you agree with it?
Well, we shouldn't have animals for entertainment. Well, I agree. Their captivity, they're not, when they're in their captivity state, it's not the greatest place for them.
So you don't think we should have dogs then? Or
Not
cats?
captive.
They are captive. They're captive in your homes.
They're not captives. They're not there against their own will. Plus, house dogs.
How do you know what's a will of an animal?
House dogs and animals that are taken from their habitat, natural habitat. What's the natural
You
habitat?
think natural habitat for a dog is a house?
A house dog? Okay, so if you take let's take an actual dog and put it out into the wild. Will it survive?
Of course it will. They survived for millennia, for hundreds of years before
No,
humans
will not.
domesticated it. Humans domesticated.
Yeah, that was before, and now they're so used to being domesticated that they wouldn't survive in the
I
wild.
think you underestimate. There are dogs that live in the wild, Xavier.
Yeah, and they barely have any food, and they're super skinny. I've seen those.
Like the ones that live in the downtown cores of cities.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the wild in their natural habitat, not downtown downtown Hamilton or
Not
downtown
downtown
Manhattan.
in the natural habitat. Oh, they're definitely dying. Those dogs are died. Maybe the big ones, Doberman Pinschers and Great Danes, and those ones would all survive. But like a Chihuahua, you're telling me a Chihuahua would survive in the forest?
It survived before humans came around.
No way.
But you're missing the point. Like at the end of the day, we domesticate animals all over, all around, for our own amusements. Do you think that's a wrong thing? I mean, I'm not for. I agree with the idea that we shouldn't be keeping these huge orcas in tanks that are twice their size. They're huge.
Yeah, I'm
animals.
talking of elephants and.
But elephants, they have
wild
free
animals.
roam, really. Other than in their cages, I don't like them in their.
Yeah,
cages.
they have to go. They have to go to. They only have free roam during the day, and then at night, where do you think they go? They go
Yeah.
inside the cages.
To be safe. I don't know.
So
I'm
it's not
torn
safe.
on this.
Do you do that to your
I'm torn.
host dog though? Hey, Rufus, come here. Oh, you're only nice. You're only allowed in the home. Oh, let's put you back in your cart. Now you can't leave. No one does that to their house dog. Well, no one sane does that.
Well, I mean, okay, that's true. But when they go out for the day, how many people leave their dogs in cages?
And you go out to in the cages?
Yeah, a lot of people leave their dogs in a cage while they're out.
Yeah, they shouldn't do that.
I'm just saying, in a lot of ways we do
Just
that.
let your dog free roam the house. Let it piss on the floor.
We're off a movie conversation, but
Yeah, I know.
but I think there is this to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. So what did you like about this movie? If you had to name a couple things that you liked before,
I like the part where, I'm not gonna lie, the funniest part of the movie is where Rufus dies and does that stupid plan. I liked that. I like Dumbo. I like the relationship between Dumbo and the kids. All the scenes with Dumbo and the kids I really enjoyed. The I think that's most of it. That's most of everything I liked.
I like some of the sequences. I love Dumbo. Like anything, he was so adorable.
Yeah, Dumbo stole the show.
He did. He was adorable. He like
He
a
didn't even
little baby.
speak one word.
Even like when the camera pans to him like looking around like from like a first person
From
perspective.
his first...
I really liked that. I thought the score was really good.
Mhm.
And the acting, like Colin Farrell and DeVito and
Keaton,
they were
and
good.
Eva Green.
Yeah, they
they're
were
all
good. They did their job. The script failed them.
Yeah. That one guy looked like Agent 13, one of the bodyguards.
So, what are you giving this movie out of 10?
I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Really? I thought you were going to go higher. What would you give the original Dumbo, just out of curiosity?
A 4.
So it's close.
Yeah, I don't think it's that much better.
I am giving this movie a 4 out of 10.
Oh, lordy.
That's where I'm going with it. And for all the reasons I said, I do not like movies that change their characters midway through. That the plot, they force a plot. I think it's the worst thing they can do.
Fair enough.
Well, there you have it, guys. That's our review on Dumbo. Let us know what you think. All right, let's move on to our bottom 10 superhero movies. There have been so many superhero movies made this year alone, and we are only 3 months into the year. I kid, but there have been superheroes are a huge fan, and I know you're a big fan.
Yeah, I am.
I'm a huge
fan. This is the
fan.
best time to be alive. If you're a comic book nerd, well, it depends. If you want them to follow the comics religiously, then this is the worst time to be alive.
That's true. What now? Okay, well, I don't want to deal with that. What? You know what I was gonna say. But my question to you is this: did you have a hard time creating this list of your top 10 movies? I did. I had when I was coming up, when I was writing down all comic book heroes movies I didn't like or superhero movies I didn't like. I got to 17 easily, and I ended up with 24, and I had to reduce it to 10. It was hard to reduce to 10 because there are a lot of bad comic book movies or superhero movies.
I don't know. I just judge it based off of my opinion. What I remember, I hate the most, and then put it up in.
Now I will say this: I can't speak for Xavier's list, but my list movies had to go to theaters. They could not be made for TV movies. Anything that was made for TV or released on Netflix does not count. No
I
TV
thought
shows.
it was theaters too, so I just did theaters.
I just want to confirm that this is
release
for the audience. This is what I'm thinking. The second thing for me is I stuck with movies after 1939. So the original Batman movie was released in 1989. To me, that's my starting point. I'm going from that year forward because I was 4 years old.
What about the
time.
Superman movies?
I was too young for them. I don't remember them. I giving them a rating would be out of context. So I stuck with things that I could contextualize.
Okay, fair enough.
The Superman movies are there, but 3 and 4 probably wouldn't make my list. They would make my list.
What's the one with the nuclear? Like stop
4.
nukes. Yeah.
Anyway,
that one has to be on it.
And then my list was either Marvel or DC or notable superheroes. So I'm not looking at like Sky High or movies like The Mask or The Son of the Mask. I'm looking for notable superheroes.
Yeah, and I also want to add it's movies I've seen. So I didn't add any of the Superman movies because I didn't see it. Superman Returns is not, spoiler alert, it's not on my list because I haven't watched that.
Okay. So Xavier, start us off. What is your number 10? Actually, no, I'm going to go first this time. You went first last time.
Okay.
So my number 10 movie is Jonah Hex.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Jonah Hex is a DC movie. It's actually Josh Brolin's first dive into the superhero universe.
Josh Brolin's Jonah Hex?
Yeah, he is.
Oh.
And he is the literal only good thing about this movie. Like, the only good thing. And it's his first dive into the superhero universe. Obviously, as Thanos and Cable, he's got his feet wet a little bit now. But what can I say about Jonah Hex other than Megan Fox is the star of it?
Oh, Megan Fox is in it
Enough
too?
said. The movie makes no sense. They must have known it was going to be bad because they only made it 81 minutes long. And I feel like if you're under 90 minutes, like they're like, we just want to try to make as much money. It's boring. The story doesn't flow. The acting has some marquee actors in it, but it is bad.
Okay. You want to know my number 10?
Yes.
Okay. My number 10 is Batman vs Superman. How upset are you, Michael?
That definitely deserves to be on your list. Why would I be upset?
Okay. All right. So Batman vs Superman. It made money, blah blah blah, so people think it's successful, but the amount of money it made for one of the biggest probably events to ever come to film.
With the two biggest superheroes.
Two of the biggest superheroes probably ever. Probably the only hero that might compare is Spider-Man. And
Agreed.
I would argue that probably not. Right? So, and I'm a Spider-Man fan, so what does that tell you, right?
I agree, man.
So, the fact that it didn't made the amount of money it did, it's just shocking. The story doesn't flow, doesn't make sense. Superman's motives are terrible, too dark. You can't make Superman the villain. It's been tried and true. The movie sucks, and the Batman beat into like the way Batman fought Superman. Like, spoiler alert, that the kryptonite dust shot, it should only work once. After that, it doesn't work. How is someone as fast as the Flash in Justice League not able to dodge a second shot of kryptonite from a gun in the same movie, right? You gotta pick and choose the powers. Come on, guys. Number 8. Number 9, sorry. Why are you looking at my thing?
I'm not looking at anything. I'm trying to correct
X-Men Age of Apocalypse. There's a lot of X-Men movie on it. Spoiler alert. X-Men Age of Apocalypse.
You're not going to like what I did.
That movie is atrocious. Do I think it's the worst X-Men movie? No. There's some that are a lot worse. But yeah, the X-Men Age of Apocalypse. We finally see one of the best villains that the X-Men have, which is Apocalypse. Obviously, Magneto's number 1, but Apocalypse is probably top 3. And what they did with him was terrible. Super depowered. Didn't forget powers. No notable lines. Nothing. They just did not do the character justice at all. And they even had a good actor, Oscar Isaac, play him, and still didn't do anything. So, yeah, terrible film.
You're not gonna like what I did because in order to kind of to make more movies onto my list, I combined some movies.
Oh, I did that too.
So my number 9 movie are the Joel Schumacher Batman movies. For those of you who do not know who Joel Schumacher is, he directed Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, both horrible DC movies.
Yes.
Now, I want to start by talking about Michael Keaton, who I think is a fantastic Batman, and he did Batman and Batman Returns. And when he was asked to come into to do Batman Forever, he met with director Joel Schumacher, and Joel Schumacher asked Keaton, "Why does everything have to be so dark?" And Michael Keaton said, "He's the Dark Knight."
Okay, so that's the first
red
sign
flag.
that red flag. It's kind of like the opposite with Superman.
This is the fundamental. I'm sorry. I'm so very excited right now. This is my fundamental issue with these movies. They're not dark. I'm Mr. Light. Like I like light movies. These need to be dark. This is what makes Batman successful. Dark. These movies, the Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, and Joel Schumacher, they're all about overkill and overdue. Everything is overdone. Everything is overkill. Every aspect. The cities look cartoonish. They're so CGI. Rewatch them. It looks like it doesn't even look real. It looks so fake. It looked fake in the 90s. It looks even more fake in 2019.
Well, that's a lesson DC hasn't really learned.
No, they really haven't. They haven't learned this. Less is more. DC, say it with me. Less is more. The Batsuit has nipples. I mean, I could probably just say I could probably say number 9, the Joel Schumacher Batman movies. The Batsuit has nipples, and everyone would be like, "You're right." The Batgirl storyline where she's Alfred's niece. Let's not even start about that. Let's talk about the terrible portrayal of Bane in Batman and Robin. Let's talk about Val Kilmer as probably the worst Batman ever. I'm sorry, I know a lot of you don't like George Clooney, but to me, George Clooney gets a bad rap for a bad script. Val Kilmer's just bad. The glow and everything's glow in the dark or neon in every scene. Like the villains are so cartoonish. It's brutal. There is nothing positive to say other than I know I'm probably going to be hated for this, but I really like Schwarzenegger as Freeze. But
Yeah, it's
just because
not.
the one-liners. Just because the one-liners. I'm sorry. But
You know, Freeze is a genius, right?
I know, and I'm
You
not
can't
saying
get a guy like that.
he wouldn't. Okay, listen. As bad as Batman and Robin is, there are some really good Arnold one-liners.
Yeah, it's good
And
for
least,
one-liner,
but that's what I'm saying. Is it if you have to watch it like the Bane is portrayed just as bad as Mr. Freeze, and Ivy's just as bad as the other two. So I mean, at least Freeze, of all those villainous characters, at least you can laugh at some of the things he said. It's like The Room. It's so bad. At least you're gonna laugh at some of it. I would say Forever is worse than Batman and Robin, but they're horrible.
Forever is the one with Jim Carrey
And Tommy Lee Jones,
Tommy Lee
Riddler,
Jones,
and Two-Face.
yeah, Riddler
They're
and Two-Face.
they're horrible. They're horrible. Don't watch those movies. My number.
Not a lot of villains though. That's what I'll say. But maybe the problem was too much villains.
That's true too. They don't develop.
Before you go to your number 8, do you think he'd make a good Superman film, Joe Schumacher?
No, it's cartoonish. He's a
But
horrible
light.
director. All right, my number 8 movie, The Green Lantern. 3 for 3 for DC.
Damn. Someone hates DC. I think somebody's a Marvel fanboy
Yeah,
over
maybe.
here.
I don't even know where to start. The Green Lantern's a train wreck. It started off with narration that just makes the story confusing. The CGI, the green CGI is stupid. The writing is horrible. The directing is horrible. And there's no vision of this movie. Apparently, Ryan Reynolds and the director were screaming at each other the entire time. They couldn't get on the same page. And it shows. And a movie with Ryan Reynolds, who's normally very charismatic, should be pretty good. See Deadpool. Marvel. Not
Yeah,
MCU
plus-
Marvel, but Marvel.
Yeah, and also the portrayal of Hal Jordan is freaking terrible.
Oh my god, it's brutal.
Hal Jordan's like, I'm scared. I don't know if I can do it. That's not Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan's the freaking guy that's like, yo, I can do anything. That's why he's the greatest Green Lantern ever.
Anyways, that's why I don't want to spend too much time on Green Lantern because it's stupid. Your number 8 movie.
Don't worry. Okay. My number 8 movie is Fantastic Four, the first ones. That's a hint to what's to come. So the first two has your boy Captain America in it.
I love Chris Evans.
Yeah, the first two pretty terrible film. Like they're bad, but it's funny. Well, we'll just start by saying these movies are terrible. Doctor Doom's portrayal is terrible. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember much of these. I just remember that I really didn't like them, so that's why they're a little bit higher on the list. We'll go on to number 7. Is the original Daredevil with Ben Affleck.
I like that movie. I might be one of the only people who like that movie.
The movie sucks.
Not like it's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm giving it like a 6 or 7 out of 10, but it ain't at the bottom of my list.
Colin Farrell as Bullseye was the worst. They made the Kingpin character wasn't really good Kingpin, but they made up for it in the Marvel series, TV series. The Kingpin's great in that. Elektra's pretty cool. I mean, they tried to do a lot with this, but it ended up just falling flat. And honestly, Daredevil's not the greatest Marvel character. He's pretty boring to my eyes, but they still managed to make it just as boring as the character.
Okay. My number 7 movie is Suicide Squad. 4 for 4 for DC. Everything about this movie sucked. Everything. I'm going to talk about the 2 major flaws, but these are just the 2 major of many, many, many flaws. And the first flaw I have is where are Batman, Flash, and Wonder Woman in this movie? So the universe has already been established. We've already seen Batman versus Superman. We've already seen Man of Steel. And this movie takes place in Midway City that's been under siege for over 2 days. The entire world has been threatened. So after 2 days, they call in the Suicide Squad. Where is
Can we
Batman?
explain? Can we explain what the Suicide Squad does?
I will in my next thing. My first question is, where's Batman? In Batman versus Superman, we find out that when when Metropolis is under attack in Man of Steel, Batman, or Bruce Wayne, flies across the town to do something about it. Mm-hmm. Clearly, this guy cares. We find out in Justice League that Wonder Woman has been spending her weekends saving the world from banks and stuff like this. We know the Flash captured Captain Boomerang. Where the bloody hell are these superheroes?
They're hiding.
Number two, the entire mission.
They're mourning Superman.
They call to save the world people who are villains, and their mission is not to stop Enchantress. Their mission is to save Amanda Waller. There actually isn't a mission in place in this movie to save the planet. There's nothing to do this. The entire mission is to save Amanda Waller. And all the other superheroes, they're nowhere to be seen because they're trying to push this idea that, oh my god, let's be bad. Bad guys are good.
Yeah, and it's also, you forgot their purpose. They were put together to kill Superman. That's the whole point.
Superman was already dead.
Yeah, but they're like, what if someone like Superman comes back, or what if Superman goes evil?
Why don't they call Wonder Woman and Batman to do it? Why calling villains who you can't control? And don't forget, it's one of these Suicide Squad members that are starting these problems.
Yeah. And also, the guys that they called that they think can beat Superman is one whose power he can climb any ledge. Even the guy that throws boomerangs.
Even the premise of this movie is flawed. You're sending villains into anything. At least in the Marvel universe, when there's a big problem, they call in the Avengers, good people to help them. Where's the Justice League?
Well, they're not established yet, right?
Yeah,
the Justice
you're right.
League movie isn't out.
But they're they've already been established in the universe. If this is the first movie, I'd be okay with it because they don't have any heroes to come with. They call villains, but it's been established.
Well, technically, it's its own universe, so the joke's on you. DCU fixed everything, so you don't know what you're talking about.
I believe Ben Affleck was in Suicide Squad.
We just saw a different Batman. We didn't see Ben Affleck's
I also believe
face.
that the Flash was in that movie as well.
We didn't see Ezra Miller's face, so we could be anybody. It could be an imposter for all we know.
Okay.
It could be
my number
Flash.
6 movie is the X-Men trilogy. So that trilogy of First Class, Futures Past, and Apocalypse. And it's just not they're just not good movies.
It's not a trilogy because Dark Phoenix is
right now it's a trilogy because Dark Phoenix isn't out yet. First, I'll start with First Class. The friendship of Xavier and Magneto is flawed. It's based on a weekend together that they spend, and now they're like besties, where Magneto paralyzes Xavier and he forgives him. It's like, I see the good in you, John. I see the good in you. I see the good in you. I'll forgive you. It contradicts the originals on many occasions.
Yeah, but Days of Future Past fixes it.
Yeah, but it comes after, and it's just nostalgia, but it's horrible. It's a cheap trick to reset a universe. Cheap trick. Marvel's gonna do it. DC's gonna do it again with Flashpoint.
What if you do it? Marvel does it too. So.
Well, if Marvel does it, I'll criticize Marvel for it. It's a cheap trick. I criticize Star Trek for doing it too. It's a cheap trick to restart your history. Anyway, and then Apocalypse, I'm just going to second everything Xavier said.
Okay.
What's your number 6 movie?
All right. My number 6 movie is The Wolverine. So that's the second of the Wolverine trilogy. The movie is terrible. My problem with this is they made Wolverine lose his healing powers, but he still has his antimadium plating. Fun fact, the reason why Wolverine's the only person that can have antimadium placed inside his bones is because his healing factor heals him, because adamantium is poisonous to the body. So if he loses his healing power in that movie, he should be dead. So the whole movie's premise is terrible. I'm sorry, that just pissed me off the entire movie, and I just couldn't watch it anymore based on that.
He didn't lose his entire power. It was just kind of working slowly.
No, he didn't have it.
He was healing at points. He just couldn't heal it completely. It was still active. It just wasn't. I think you missed. I think you gotta rewatch that movie, man. I really.
It was turned off. He says I'm not healing.
He would get shot, and he would push the bullets out, but it wouldn't heal completely.
He didn't push the bullets out. He had to.
Did he?
He was injured.
Maybe I have to rewatch this movie.
I think you have to rewatch
maybe
the movie.
Both of us do. Maybe I have to do that as our movie of the from the vault. Sorry.
Yeah, no, don't make me watch that movie. I freaking hate that movie. All right.
And your number 5?
Number 5. Wolverine Origins. So, back-to-back Wolverine movies. As you can tell, I think that was a Fox sweep. Wolverine Origins. I liked it at the beginning. I was pretty interested. You know what? I was like, oh, okay. When it starts to break down is the whole Deadpool part where he just has these two like swords and his mouth is covered and he's teleported and killing people. The whole motivations, the shot to the head that made him forget his memories and stuff like that. It was just all cheap writing and just crappy tropes. It was probably, it's the worst Wolverine movie by far. They get better as each one comes out, though, at least.
No, clearly they don't. Oh, I guess they do. Well, Logan would be the worst for me, so...
Really? Over Origins?
Origins and Logan were like movies that were on my bubble.
Okay.
I like the Wolverine.
Yeah,
but I don't love it. I don't love it. It's I'm just saying it's not the bottom of the bottom. My number 5 movie is Man of Steel.
5 for 5.
6 for 6.
Oh, 6 for 6?
Actually, no. My number I had Marvel for the X-Men movies.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, you
3
had Fox.
X-Men movies.
You had Fox.
Still Marvel. You don't have an MCU movie either, so don't even start with me. All right. Man of Steel. I'm just going to say this. They made Superman dark. Do I need to go on to you people? Superman is the antithesis of light. He is the antithesis of hope. And they made him into a dark hermit. This movie is about one man, Superman, who is just pretty much Jesus freaking Christ. That's what he is. Watch the movie. He's Jesus Christ. He's actually on a fishing boat at a point in the movie as well. He is told by his father, Russell Crowe, who somehow magically can transport himself onto a Kryptonian ship and talk to him like he was alive now.
He put his consciousness there.
That his son is to rule humans like a god. You're a god on this planet. He's Jesus Christ. I can't stand a lot in this movie. When he fights the Kryptonian, Zod, and all of that in Smallville or in Metropolis, he fights them in these places, destroying the cities. He's supposed to be a hero. Fly him into space. Fight him there. Why are you fighting and breaking Metropolis to its knees?
I'm not gonna lie. Although you hate those scenes did look pretty awesome in the action sequences. Those are some pretty awesome action sequences that I saw.
And then the human stupidity. We're going to work with these 3 villainous people who want to destroy our planet instead of working with Superman, who's here to help us. That makes sense.
Well, I mean...
Most importantly, Cavill, he lacks he lacks the part to play Superman. He doesn't have the charisma or the charm that you need to play that character.
He looks like him, though.
He looks like him. He looks great. He looks the part of Superman, but he lacks the charisma and the charm. And Zack Snyder is the worst director working. He overkills everything, and he got Superman wrong.
Oh, I forgot to mention the worst thing, backtracking to Batman vs. Superman. Jesse Eisenberg of Lex Luthor is probably the worst casting choice I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay. Back to that.
My number 4 movie is the Fantastic Four remake. Another Marvel movie. Now, nothing, and I mean nothing, is good in this movie. They get every character wrong. It's so boring. So boring. And not only is it boring, it's uninteresting. And listen, they have to resort to giving Doctor Doom some powers. And you know that's a cheap ploy when you have to give a character who's supposed to be all up here in the mind powers.
Yeah, the 2 smartest people in the MCU.
Now, I'm not one person who cares that they made Johnny Storm black. I don't care. That means nothing to me. But if you want to make Johnny Storm black, I want Sue Storm black too. They're brother and sister. You can't mess this up. Make them both black or both white, both Asian. I don't care. But they're brother and sister. They
What
can't
you
be.
mean you can't have feelings like that for somebody that isn't
It's a
by
laughable
blood?
movie. It's so bad it's laughable. It's right up there with The Room. The effects are really cheesy. The end is absolutely horrible. There's
Blood ain't
nothing
thicker than
redeemable about
water.
this film. Nothing redeemable.
Yeah, there's something redeemable.
Well, I'm excited to know what you think because I know that's on your list. What's your number 4 movie?
When it's okay. My number 4 movie is Catwoman with Halle Berry. Halle Berry. This movie sucks, and for the longest time was I think it's got voted worst movie of the decade in when 2010 finished. So that goes to show you how crappy this movie is. No one really asked for this movie, and no one wanted this movie, and that's all I'm gonna have to say. All right.
You know, it's funny that you said that because I didn't even have that Catwoman in my top 17 list, and you want to know why?
Why?
Because who cares? It's Catwoman. Like it doesn't. I'm not. It could have been horrible. It could be good. Like, does anyone care? Like
People like Catwoman.
I guess.
I don't care for Catwoman, but some people do. Selena Kyle.
All right, go ahead. Your number 3 movie.
Number 3. My bias on this. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. Doubled up, baby. So, my problem with these movies are the casting for Peter Parker is terrible. They give him like a
you
skateboard.
Love Tobey Maguire, right?
Tobey Maguire's pretty good for Peter. He looks like he's a good Peter, terrible Spider-Man.
All right, continue. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no problem.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
So, Andy Garfield, I'm not gonna lie, he's really good as Spider-Man, like with the quips and everything like that. But terrible Peter Parker. I cannot believe this guy's Peter Parker. One, he's too good looking. Skateboard is like, he's like skateboarding. He's like, yo, what's up, guys? He's all popular and everything. I'm like, who would hate this guy? Like, he doesn't look like a hateable guy, right? He doesn't look like the nerd type. Thankfully, Tom Holland doesn't really look like the nerd type too.
Yes, he does. He can look like the nerd type.
Yeah, true. Okay, fair enough. And then I also hate the route they went with the Green Goblin. Like in number 2, they kill off Norman Osborn right away, and then just go right to Harry Osborn being the Green Goblin. And he looks like some emo kid from like 2008. like I don't know the choices they made. Electro, okay, whatever, cool, blah blah blah. They had the Lizard. And they're trying to do what they tried to do with this one is try to make the follow the ultimate timeline with Electro, the Lizard, and everything. Everybody's reasoning why they're evil is because of Oscorp, but then they kill off the main guy from Oscorp in the second movie. So I don't know what they're trying to do there.
What they tried because that they
the what? Oh, sorry, my apologies.
I was gonna say what they tried to do is they tried to realize that they tried to it was like a screaming cry to Marvel that we need help.
Yeah.
Take
the only positive thing about the Amazing Spider-Man is in the second one, that is probably the best suit, the closest suit to the original Spider-Man suit out of all the movies, even the new one. That was the best suit that's closest to the original. In number 2. That's the only good thing about this. Oh, and what I hated the most, too, is he kept taking his freaking mask off all the time. Every time I watch the movie, his mask is off. I'm like, why is he taking off his mask? Like, put your mask on, you freaking idiot. What are you doing? Like, who cares if he's like, he takes his mask off to show the kid, like, hey, look, I'm a human, too. He knows you're a human. What does that kid think? I was like, whatever.
Spider-Man 1... Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, The Amazing Spider-Man, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 were all on my short list.
Really?
All of them. I hadn't liked the Spider-Man movie until Civil War.
Well, it's not really a Spider-Man.
I'm just saying.
Movie,
well, I'm sorry. I hadn't liked Spider-Man in a movie till Civil War. And now I've seen Civil War, Homecoming, Infinity War, and Into the Spider-Universe. I'm 4 for 4 on my last 4 movies.
Oh, yeah. Into the Spider-Verse was really good for Spider-Man.
All right, my number 3 movie is my only non-Marvel and non-DC movie on my list. Do you know what it is?
What is it?
The Power Rangers.
Is that superhero?
I think they're superheroes.
Oh, man. That probably would have been number one. Then I might revamp. I didn't consider them superior. I was debating whether to add it.
Listen, this is really high for me for one simple reason. This is the only movie in my entire adult life that I've almost walked out in. And I mean this. My ass was out of the seat, and I took 2 steps towards the door. The only reason I stood and stayed to watch this movie, and I'm talking, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking 5 minutes into the movie I did this. 5 minutes in, I got up out of my seat, I took 2 steps toward the door, and then I realized that I hadn't driven to this movie, and that my roommate Haroon, he had seen the movie, the Power Rangers at the 7 o'clock show, and he wanted to go see another movie. So he was going to see that's the motorcycle movie that was out at the time. I don't even remember what it was called.
Ghost Rider?
No, it's a cop motorcycle movie.
RoboCop?
No.
I have no idea.
Whatever it is. He went to go see that, so I had no choice but to stay to watch this movie. What I should have done is gone and see that movie. This movie was absolutely brutal. It destroyed my love of the Power Rangers, which I grew up with. What these producers, directors, writers what they did to these Power Rangers is unforgivable. And I will say this: they turned the Power Rangers, heroes, these noble teenagers, into a joke by collecting bad, troublesome kids. That's the message we want to send to our youth today. Be a jerk, you get powers.
But you can change.
They don't change. They're dicks. All
Not
of
the
them.
nerd one.
Pardon?
The blue Power Ranger? Was he the blue or black
Either
one?
blue.
Oh yeah, because they wanted
The smart one.
Because in the original one, the black guy, the black guy was the black Power Ranger.
Whatever. Anyways, the suits were a joke. They were clearly Iron Man suits.
Yeah.
The Goldar was, oh my god, I don't even know how to describe
Goldar
that.
was the worst thing ever.
The destruction of what Rita and Goldar all did to the planet was just like, are you kidding me? Zordon's character made no sense. He basically said, you know what? Instead of protecting the world, I'm going to help these kids who have this confidence problem and let them, I'm not going to come back. I'm going to let them come around and they can solve the problem.
Yeah.
It was brutal. Don't watch this movie. I am telling you, I would rather watch paint dry than watch this movie again.
Man, if I knew I could have put Power Rangers, oh man, that's easily number one for me.
Is it your number 3 now, or is it my number 2?
It's your number 2.
My number 2. My number 2 movie is Superman Returns. Now, Superman Returns is supposed to be a sequel to Superman 2. Now, Superman 2 came out in 1980, and they actually made 2 other Superman movies, 3 and 4 after that.
Yeah, but they rebooted it.
I understand this.
They went back in time. Days of Future Past.
Hold on, Xavier. I understand this. So they made this movie in 2006, Superman Returns, and it's supposed to take place 5 years after Superman. So it should be in 1985, but it's in 2006. So the audience is supposed to remember. First of all, the audience is supposed to remember a movie from 26 years earlier, which I didn't remember. And somehow, when this movie begins, Lex Luthor knows where the Fortress of Solitude is, and you're supposed to believe it. We're supposed to realize that Clark actually has a child with Lois Lane that he doesn't know about, and she doesn't even tell him when he gets back. So he's pretty much been a deadbeat dad for the last 5 years. Good for him. The crystal sequence at the end is just pitiful. The third act is brutal. The movie begins, and it's 2.5 hours in length. And it feels like 7 hours in length. It is worse. What's his face? Brendan Roth is a worse Superman than Henry Cavill. He's the worst Superman by far. And he has no charisma and no charm. And this movie had no need for a Clark Kent. And I should tell you that Superman is my literal favorite superhero. That I have 2 Superman movies in the top 5 should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
All right, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is the Fantastic Four, the second one.
Did you actually see this?
Yeah, I did. Oh. Remember?
Oh, right.
I saw it on Netflix. So watch the movie. I second everything Fooch says. Dr. Doom has powers, and then he forgot his powers. He had the power to make people's heads explode. And then when he fights the Fantastic Four, he just decides to throw rocks. So that's pretty awesome, you know. Like, why didn't he just make their heads explode like in Fantastic, like he was just doing before? But no, he doesn't do that. Miles Teller, as soon as I saw this movie, I had concern based off of casting choices. Miles Teller is not a convincing Reed Richards. Obviously you can't really mess up the Thing because he's a CGI character. Sue Storm. I felt like they went too young with this. They looked way too young. I would rather them be more in their late 20s than looking like their early 20s or like 19 or everything like that. They seem too young. Fantastic Four is better suited for when they're in their later years. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
I know what your number one movie is. I don't understand how Suicide Squad didn't make your top 10 list.
Why would it make my top 10 list? There's so much worse movies.
All right, tell us about Green Lantern.
How do you know my number one is Green Lantern?
Because what else is it going to be?
All right. Green Lantern is the worst superhero film I've ever seen in my life. Okay, let me tell you something. Green Lantern is my favorite DC superhero. And they really messed up Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan is not some, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I have the power to do it. He doesn't. He's fearless. That's why he's the best Green Lantern. He was an ace pilot, not scared of anything. That's what made him. That's why he's considered the best, because he's done feats that no other Green Lantern can. They use Oh my God, I can't believe I can't say his name. The Conjuration of Fear, they made him just a giant cloud. I hate when they did that. They did the same thing in Fantastic Four, where Galactus is just a freaking cloud. Like, they have forms. If you want to use the characters, use their forms, or just don't use the character at all, right? Another problem I have is they don't really explain what he's supposed to do. It's boring. The characters don't match. It just makes me want to puke. That's what that movie does. Have you ever seen a movie that makes you want to puke before?
I would classify every movie in this list as movies that made me want to puke. To different degrees.
If a movie makes you want to puke, that really says something. And I will never watch this movie again, and hopefully they do the Green Lanterns right, because they're really cool. But they don't do them justice. And I don't know why he's not in Justice League. Like, they don't care about... Don't get me started. The fanboys coming out. And that's it. And that's The Tooth.
That's your number one movie. You know what? I respect that. Green Lantern was brutal. My number one movie...
Let me guess.
Go ahead. You know what it is. This is probably my least favorite movie of all time.
Batman vs. Superman.
Batman versus freaking Superman. And you know what? I'm a Superman guy. And they got him wrong in Man of Steel. They got him wrong in Superman Returns. They should be ashamed of themselves for what they did to poor Superman in Batman versus Superman.
Why?
Superman is if you just watch this movie from a writing perspective, Superman is the villain of this film. It's all over. It's written all over this film that Superman is the villain. And I'm going to start by talking about the beginning of the movie. So if you remember Man of Steel, at the end of the movie when the terraforming is finished and they kill Zod, Superman lands into Metropolis and runs towards Lois Lane, and they're making out. Fast forward to the beginning of Batman vs. Superman, where Bruce Wayne helicopter flies in, drives to the Wayne Enterprise building, and you know what? We see the Zod neck break, and then we all know what Superman's going to do. He's going to make out with Lois Lane. But what's happening? People are dying all over Metropolis. So what's Superman doing while people are dying? He has super hearing. He knows about it. He's making out with girls.
He's getting it on, man. He
And
trying to
then,
get their
I think
business.
is it 6 months later, 8 months later, 2
Yeah.
years later, whatever it is, he has no contact with humans. He does no interviews. He doesn't contact anyone. He's pretty much a god that flies in somewhere and then flies out. Which is what Man of Steel made him.
Yeah.
So I'm with Lex Luthor. Why wouldn't you be with Lex Luthor? If you're a human being, you should be with Lex Luthor. To me, he's the good guy in this movie. He's looking out for humans. Batman hates him. Batman doesn't like him. Lex doesn't like him. Shouldn't we be on their side? Moreover, Batman has a dream in the movie where Batman is in this post-apocalyptic world shooting guns, which is like his one rule. Well, one of his many rules. Don't use guns.
Don't use gun. Don't kill people.
Whatever. I'll get into that in a second. Anyways, he wakes up from this dream, and then the Flash comes to see him in the future and says, "You were right about him. Find Lois Lane." So clearly, he actually is the villain. It's right in the story. And let's not get started with Batman's going to kill Superman until he says the word Martha. Oh my god, our moms have the same name? Oh my god, we should be besties! Let's go! Because that makes sense from a story perspective.
I bet you Zack Snyder thought he was so smart.
Hold on, I'm going to get into Zack Snyder in a second. It's dark, it's grim,
Whoa.
it doesn't need to be done that way.
No one thought of this before.
Batman kills people. He kills people in this movie. And I want to talk about this because Zack Snyder recently ripped on fans. So fans had been complaining to Zack Snyder for years now about this movie and about Batman killing people. And he told fans to F off. That there's an entire quote. I highly recommend you go read it about how you guys are so naive. You guys are living in a fantasy world. Your heroes are too good. Heroes gotta kill. It's okay. I'm like, yeah, it is a fantasy world. That's the whole point. We're not living in the real world. We want fantasy. We want our characters to be true to who they are. Is that so much to ask for? If you look at his top 10 list or bottom 10 list and my bottom 10 list, guess what? Our characters, the characters that we grew up with, were butchered. You know who doesn't butcher characters? You know who didn't butcher Spider-Man?
MCU?
Oh, would you look at that? You know what? You know who Superman's equivalent is in terms of the Marvel Universe, in terms of personality? It's Captain America. That moral compass that will not corrupt. Guess who didn't corrupt Captain America? Guess who didn't make Captain America dark?
The MCU?
Oh, boy.
The Russo brothers?
DC, take some notes. I know I'm hard on DC. I get it. But I promise you next week, and I'm going to leave you with this, I will be very nice to you, DC. So come back next week. We're going to talk about Shazam. We're going to talk about Pet Sematary. We're going to do our top 10 Disney songs. And I guarantee a much better view of DC. That's what I'm saying.
I also want to add to the Batman not killing. He kills in every other movie, though.
But it's the way he kills. He literally stabs a guy through the heart.
Yeah, he deliberately murders.
There's a difference in people dying, and there's a difference in murder.
Yeah. There are times the funniest scene where I'm like, oh, this guy just really murdered. This guy's has the Lois Lane hostage and he has the flamethrower, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what he's gonna use to stop this. What cool way is he gonna stop the person? Because he can't kill him because it's dangerous because he has a hostage. No, he just blows him up with the batarang. Oh man. Or the fact when he grabs the little thing and makes it a wrecking ball, and those people inside, they're paste, they're dead. Their insides are just liquid.
I'm sorry, I got a little animated, but Superman's my boy, and they brutalized him.
Yeah,
there should be hell to pay.
And DC's casting choices are, let's face it, they're pretty freaking
And why?
bad.
You're starting a brand new universe. Why are you getting a 45-year-old Ben Affleck to play Bruce Wayne? I like Ben Affleck, and 20 years ago, he'd been my choice. But you want to create a universe. Why are you putting your pillar? If you're DC, your two pillars are Batman and Superman. Why is your one pillar an old man?
I don't know. That's a very good question.
I could spend all day criticizing the DCEU.
Well, it's not really the DCEU anymore.
It's not, but I could spend all day criticizing the old DCEU. All right.
Enough.
Are you done for? Do you have anything else you want to say about our list?
No, it's pretty good. It's all our list is very personal to what childhoods were ruined.
I feel that like most people, like, I don't think we stepped on any toes on these lists. I don't think there's any controversial things here.
Yeah, well, you Batman versus Superman to those super Batman, like the fans that are in heavy denial. I think it's actually a good movie.
There's no fans that think it's a good movie.
There's people that think it's a good. Have you not gone on the internet and seen arguments?
You know what's funny? When that movie first came out, like I remember a lot of my students like were on the fence. Like half of them liked it, half of them didn't. And I was teaching grade 9s at the time, and all those grade 9s are in grade 11 now, or grade 12 now. And we had the same conversation. Like, sir, I don't know what I liked about this movie. It's brutal. I feel like if you watch it once, you're willing to forgive things, but on the rewatch, I think you realize how bad it is. It's the rewatch that does it. Because I hated it the first time, and then I rewatched it, and then I'm like, oh my god, this is the worst movie ever made.
I don't know about that. Well, we have different things, because mine was 10 years as one.
Yeah, but who's your favorite DC character?
Green Lantern.
And what's your number one hated movie?
Green Lantern.
Who's my favorite DC hero?
Superman.
And how many Superman movies are in my top 5?
A lot. 3.
Just saying. It's personal. You're right. What we hate, our characters. I'm surprised there's only one Spider-Man movie, to be honest. Well, one. I'm surprised the Tobey Maguire movies, like Spider-Man 3, were not on your list.
Spider-Man 3 almost made it. I don't mind the first two.
Ironically, the third is my favorite of the original trilogy.
Yeah, you're fried.
They're all.
That was the worst.
Doc Ock being a hero in the end, that is unforgivable.
Yeah, but
he's a villain. He's the villain. And you want to talk about taking off your mask? Tobey Maguire spends the entire Spider-Man 2 without a mask. You know what? You can't defend Spider-Man 2, okay? It is brutal.
Fair enough.
I mean, the first one is probably the safest
I think,
choice.
honestly, I'm not gonna lie. The second one, I got the nostalgia goggles on.
What was the last time you saw the second one?
I saw it like recently.
And you still like it?
Yeah, it's decent for me. I don't know.
Doc Ock is brutalized. Like it is horrible. Like come on, you have to admit it. You're a Spider-Man fan. They brutalized Doc Ock.
Well, Doc Ock, he's always seen as bad and good. He's kind of like nowadays he's kind of like fluctuates, so that's why I don't fully hate it.
Oh boy, I can't deal with it. I couldn't deal with it.
But what they did, and plus I don't like Doc Ock as much as I like Venom, and they really Venom.
But again, see, think of it like that. Your characters that they brutalize, and our lists from Batman all the way down to Batman are brutalized.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Are we done for the day?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Leave your list of your bottom 10 movies. Vent out. Talk to us about how the MCU, the DCU, Fox, or other heroes have been brutalized and vent. We're here for you.
Yeah.
Unless you're venting about Captain America, I will
we
not
take
be on your
the
side.
Time. I think Captain America is the most successful MCU franchise.
I love
outside
Cap.
Of the Avengers.
I love Cap. I love him.
We know that.
I'm sorry, I do. I'm nervous for Endgame, but I really love him. And you know what? If he has to bite the dust and saves the entire universe, Godspeed, Cap. Godspeed.
We'll see what happens.
All right, tell everyone what we're up to next week, even though I already have. Just remind them.
Yeah, we're going to be watching Shazam, Pet Sematary, and it's our top 10 Disney songs.
The hardest top 10 list that we will have to do on this show.
I don't know. It'll probably be easy. I know what I like.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna move on. Guys, you have a wonderful day.
Don't listen to anything I say. Take care now. Bye.